GameStop tells everyone they're going to buy Bitcoin. What happens to the Bitcoin price? Nothing. Well, it's to be expected in this chopping broccoli, chop suey of monotony in this bull run. You can see we are building out perfectly a cup and handle pattern. Where's my little cup and handle thing here? Do I have it handy, or is this gonna blow everything out of? There's a cup. Let's see if I move. Can I move it into position? Yeah, there we go. There, in case you're wondering what a cup and handle pattern looks like, that's what it looks like. Why is this in the middle of here? Let's get rid of that. Yeah, cup and handle pattern, beautiful. Where does it play out to? She plays out to 92.7. Now, can we possibly break out of this channel of ascension? Yeah, we can. However, I don't like the fact that we didn't get any movement to the upside. We haven't really gone to challenge this channel of ascension. We basically poopy pantsed our way back down to the 200 moving average and can't really find our way back. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, if you think about it, we are at the exact same price we were yesterday morning. Like 24 hours later, serpent eats its tail. We're at the same price. Now let's do some price hunting here, just to see where we are. Seeing as there's nothing happening in the market besides GameStop. See, what would happen is that we would see a big headline: GameStop buys $2 billion worth of Bitcoin, and of course the price would tank. Right? That's what we'd see. So let's see here. What am I doing? Let's undo that. If we are at, you can see, wow, right on this channel of ascension's support, now acting as resistance. So this is today, 87.7. Where were we March 1st? We closed at 86.3. So we are basically up $1,000 since the start of March 1st. Now, where were we Feb 1st? We were higher. Holy smokes. Feb 1st. We closed at 100K. Oh, the good old days, 100K. Oh, you can get rid of this cup and handle pattern. Why is that always so hard? Every time I switch a screen, it just, all the overlays go crazy. Cup and handle. And your eyes don't really, God, come on, Jesus. So February 1st, $100,000. Then we moved into March 1st, but generally bullish months too. Especially in bull runs. And so we went down, well, what would that be? $13,000. Seems like a lot, eh? It is a lot. $13,000 from Feb 1 to March 1. Does that reflect in the monthly looking charts? Well, yeah, look at that. The January close, 101. My memory of January is far worse than this is actually showing. But I guess that's the way the market works, right? It's traumatizing. We don't know what we don't know. So this is the daily chart, February 1st. Let's see what Jan 1st was. Jan 1. 94. My memory of Jan 1 was much worse. Of course. We would be begging for 94K right now, because that would mean we were over. We have all peepers on deck here, 91.6. We'd be over that. Will we get over it? Who knows? Google Trends down. Of course. Well, that's not a big surprise. Massive Bitcoin whale buys 200 million in Bitcoin. I find this funny because our definition of whales is so much different now than it was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, 200 million in Bitcoin, that was a whale. Now it's kind of a whale for ants, 200 million in Bitcoin. Seen as though Michael Saylor buys 2 billion and the market goes down. Like, what is 200 million? Wakes up after 8 years. Whale wakes up to realize He's no longer a whale. Imagine that, waking up 8 years later, strutting into the markets. Yeah, I'm a big whale. I'm going to move 200 million. Thank you. Can I get an OTC deal? Sorry, we kind of do OTC for 1 billion and more whales. Not really 200. It's cute. It's cute and welcome back. Massive Bitcoin whale wallet holding has just added 200 million worth of Bitcoin to its position after selling over 11,000 over the last few months. So, there you go. These whales selling before they're buying. It's like, do you really buy the narrative that these whales know the market better than everyone else, or is it just coordinated? I can't really put my finger on it. Like when you think of whales, I don't think of some sort of financial savvy person. I think of an early adopter, that could possibly, push his muscle around, but nothing. They're not like, quant bot geniuses that know, more about how the financial system works than anybody else who's doing it, which is really nobody. Like the people who know how the financial system works, they work the financial system. What I mean by that, they're insiders, so they know what's coming down. You can see, no matter what we did here, the crypto index is just creeping up. 47. I guess yesterday was 46. The day before that was 45. Is tomorrow going to be 48? You can tell usually this jumps. We'll jump 10 or so, but not anymore. And we have 60.5 Bitcoin dominance, 24-hour volume, 75. That says it all. I mean, the volume, it's not bullish volume. What I don't like about the low volume is that it means that it can be bullied, right? When you don't have a lot of volume, you can, have one of these financial genius whales come in and dump the market, because they're not going to dump OTC. No. They only buy OTC. They dump on an exchange. So it can be, everyone can do the crypto quant charts and post it in Twitter. Market cap still 2.88. What do you got to say about that? Nothing. If just loosely eyeballing this, you can see a little bit of bearish divergence here. It's slight. If we switch this, let's just make this. I mean, this is a lower price. It's not like it's. Well, I mean, you could fudge it to the candlesticks, right? And then you have the RSI making lower highs. It's slight. It's slight, but it's not. It might not be something, but she sure ain't nothing. And if price dumps on the news that a massive corporate whale, are they the massive corporate whale? Not really. See, the great thing about the game theory of these corporate zombie companies is that there is no choice. That's what's exciting. The only exciting part about this is that, it's like the hokey pokey. It takes a couple, or the chicken dance, is chicken dance Canadian or is it international? Well, we have these things up in Winnipeg called socials. Now, this is weird. I don't know if I've talked about this, but it's independent to Winnipeg in particular, maybe Manitoba. But what happens is that when you get married, this is going to blow your mind. When you get married in Manitoba, not anywhere else in Canada, just in Manitoba, you have what's called a wedding social. And there's so many things wrong with this. I'll give my opinion on it after. But the nutshell of this wedding social is you charge tickets to this multi-purpose gymnasium in a rec center that no one's heard of. Like it's not a proper venue. It's where they would have, Friday they had bingo, Saturday they have your wedding social. Long tables with paper over it, and it's a very cheaply run scenario. So they're trying to make money, right? So everything's shitty. So on the tables you have bowls of Ripple chips. You have the someone's buddy is DJing. there's probably no lights. It's just kind of dimmed. And then you have what's called what is it called? It's like a cheese and meat platter. That's what they feed everyone. Like little bites of wieners, and it's the cheapest platter you could ever get. And then it just stuck. Everyone was like, we love that. Let's do it. And it saves money. So there's no open bar. No, in fact, a lot of people are become their own bar, right? So they take a cut, but remember, they buy that booze off the government at whatever the government says, right? So it's not like let's say they sell it for $5. Just weird. I wonder how much they sell it for, because booze has gone up so much now that I would be surprised if it's still $5. Wouldn't you consider a $5 drink very cheap, especially in the States? So the $5 drink, that's like a $3 drink. Like, where are you getting a $3 beer in the States? I don't know. You're not getting a $3 beer anywhere in Winnipeg either. Maybe at the social. But I would say if we adjust the price adjustment for these, I would say maybe drinks are $7 or $8. I don't know. Is there anyone in Winnipeg here that's been? No, there's no one on this stream from Winnipeg. A charcuterie board is too nice a word. It's really a meat and cheese platter. It's the cheapest cheese you could ever find, cut into cubes, and just people a fancy social will be a pizza. They'll order pizza from like the cheapest. We have what's called 222-2222 pizza hotline, and it's basically the cheapest pizza you can have. So they'll get that. Anyway, the reason for this stupid social is to fund the wedding. You might be asking yourself, well, why do they need to fund the wedding? Are they getting married without being able to fund the wedding? Yes and no. They can fund the wedding, and they would if even without this social. But it's basically this kind of bizarre money grab where they pressure all their friends and family to buy. First off, there's tickets, and they're $10. I assume they're $10, but this was like 20 years ago when I went to these socials, because you're almost guilted into buying them. And because I worked all the time, it was even worse for me. So people would come up, because I was bartending. Hey, we're getting married. You want to come to the social? And I would have to do this. I'll just buy 20 tickets. I'll have 20 tickets. Sorry. I'll buy 2 tickets. Yeah, thanks. Here. And they'll give me the tickets. I'm like, no, I'm not going. I work, I work. So I'm not going to book off, this bartending gig to go to a social. So I just, it was $20 free. House of Hooligan, it sounds like a fundraising by throwing a massive party. That's exactly, Third Eye Wise. Wow, there she is. That is a Winnipegger. For information, social tickets are now upwards of $20. So they've doubled. $20 to eat Ripple chips, listen to Uncle Jerry on the ones and twos, and eat a meat platter. And believe me, when that meat platter comes off, let's release the hounds. Everyone kind of surrounds it. There's mustard too. Cub Bakery. We have this thing called Cub Bakery. They get it from Cub Bakery. It's all coming back to me. Anyway, it was always annoying. And the worst part, the absolute worst part, is that it didn't discriminate amongst socioeconomic backgrounds. So for instance, if Tammy and Billy, whose parents, maybe they have no parents. So let's just say they are actual people with no real funding. They are funding their own wedding. And so the $5,000 Greg Sword in Ontario, it's buck and dough. That's pretty funny. Let's see that, buck and dough. I guess everyone sees this. And so what happens is that they use that wedding money. I guess $5,000 is kind of like the upside. Oh, there's also raffles, and there's silent auctions. So here it gets worse, because what they do is they go around to all these businesses. First off, family and friends businesses. Like Buddy John owns a restaurant, so they'll go to Buddy John's and like, can we get a social prize? Which it means, can we have a big free something? And so people will, let's say Buddy John's restaurant is a pizza place. Well, he'll give away. Oh, yeah, sure, because they all have these things. It's almost like a social mafia, because every business is locked and loaded with their social giveaway, because you can't say no, or else the people will be like, buddy, guess what? Went to Buddy John. Yeah, the pizzeria, right? And I asked him for a social prize. Guess what he said? No. Buddy John's Pizzeria said no to a social prize. And then you're kind of like this, you have this social scarlet letter as the business that doesn't give social prizes. And so you have to. So everyone has a social package. And I guess, I don't even know if they do like proper tax receipts. Like you can write it off as something, because it's all pseudo under the table. It's not like, let's say you have a wildly successful social and you make $20,000 untaxed. So to a certain degree, there's an upside to it. If we're looking for a silver lining, it's one of those weird loopholes in the Canadian tax system. And now maybe things have changed. Third Eye Wise, let me know if you know. Bruce Mai, how widespread is this? It's pandemic in Manitoba. People do not get married without a social. So this is where I'm getting at with the socioeconomic background. There's rich kids. Like we're talking deep wealth. Some of the wealthiest families in Canada live in Winnipeg, and their kids get married. And what do the kids do? They have a social. Like we're talking about, I'm not going to say their names, but they're almost like they own the majority of a lot of things in Canada, and they're from Winnipeg. Anyway, they'll have socials. They'll have socials, and they'll go and they'll ask businesses. Now, so here's where it gets weird, as if the whole thing isn't weird. On Halloween, you have this big house bias where it's like, I want to go to that street because all the big houses are there. And I'm assuming that those big houses are going to give chocolate bars instead of these weird taffy things that, rip out my fillings. And so we have a big house bias when it comes to Halloween. Well, there is a rich kid social bias where people kind of know, hey, did you know that Susie and Tommy are getting married? Yeah, from the blank family. Oh, wow. They're going to have amazing prizes. So this is where the big house bias comes in. So these wealthy families generally have better prizes. They have better silent auctions. Does everyone know what a silent auction is? I'm assuming they do. If they don't, in a nutshell, it's basically people will put their ticket. They buy tickets, right? And then they put their tickets into this paper bag that's taped to this table with the social prizes. And then right when the party's getting good, if that's even possible, they cut the music, turn on the lights, and it's like as bright as this room here with these camera lights. And they're like, okay, everybody, we're going to do the social. And this is when most people leave. And they just draw one of the tickets, and that's how they give away big tickets to these wedding socials. I should just change the thumbnail on this video to Winnipeg Socials Explained. And then so a big ticket price would be a TV, right? And some people actually go and buy the shit. Like they'll go buy like a Yamaguchi 42. Like you don't know the brand name. It's what, Yamaguchi? I've never really heard of a TV called Yamaguchi. What is it, 39 inch? I didn't know they came in 39 inches. And so they're all these weird kind of the cheapest of big ticket prices. Mind you, still wealthy families that are doing this. They'll still go and buy the cheapest prizes. Still better than, most people will get like these potpourri baskets, from a store, which will have like a thing of sausage, a brick of cheese, and maybe some weird scented oil for cooking, like who really cares? Anyway, how did I even get on Winnipeg socials? It's such a bizarre thing. We've played a couple. So Scotty Mo, what is the time frame from the social to the actual wedding? That's a good question. The time frame is usually a year, but there's no rule. And here's what some people do, which I think is a great idea. I've been to a couple, because when I was in a duo called the Blackout City Kids. It's the band with the song Wrong Turn, and so people would hire us to play these socials, right? And we'd have to pretend we're DJing too. So this is where I knew DJing was a big scam, because they'd say, "Can you DJ too?" We're like, "No, we're not really DJs. We're singers. God damn it, we sing." And then my partner, Scotty J, who was always slightly more entrepreneurial than me, he'd be like, yeah, we can DJ. And then now, because he knows it's up to me to figure out how to DJ. And then we realized how to DJ. Press play on YouTube. And we would play a mix, like 90s mix, 80s mix, et cetera, and then we were DJs. So anyway, what the best part about these Winnipeg socials is that sometimes, no, memory man, this is a good question too. No obligation to actually get married? No, and some people don't. They call off the wedding because who knows what happened. Tommy cheated on Susie or whatever, or the families didn't like each other, or whatever. The wedding gets called off. There's no money back. You don't get your ticket back. It's just the wedding's over. But what I did like, and I've seen a couple times, was that instead of the silent auction, they would actually get married. Plus or minus. So is it a good thing they actually got married? I don't know. I'm the wrong one to ask. But that was a good idea, because you had like way more people. None of the people had to pay like the whatever it is. I was about to say $100, but that's probably double now. So when you get invited to a wedding, how you got a presentation. It's like, so here's another interesting part. Because you went to the wedding or the social and you paid $20, and then you bought a bunch of tickets for the silent auction, let's call 20 or 40. There's also this thing called silent auction pigs. Like, it's so weird now. It's all coming back to me. A silent auction pig is someone who goes to socials just to win all the prizes. And so I've brought this up at the piano bar. So if you've ever heard this and said, what the hell is he talking about? Some people, when they bring up their requests, they bring them up folded, right? And I'm like, this isn't a Winnipeg social. And everyone in front of me knows, because what silent auction pigs do is that they take their ticket and they fold it into so it's crinkled, or it's like an accordion, and they put that in the bag, because guess what? Amongst the sea of flat tickets, what is probably going to get picked is that one that's crinkled and kind of standing up. And so these silent auction pigs that they're called, they don't even know the family. They don't know anybody. They just go around winning these prizes. And they love those rich people weddings, socials, because they go there. Anyway, Houseless Hooligan, shh, don't tell our secrets. Yeah, so when I say that at the piano bar, people will, fold their things up. And guess what? I look at their request first, because it's standing up. So it works on every level. We're having a little bit of pullback here, 87.5. I would bet that the stories about the Winnipeg social are far more interesting than the market right now. Canadian wedding crashers. Yeah, there's no obligation for the wedding. And what happens is that, think about it. We all know how much a wedding costs. A wedding costs way more than $5,000. Because you got to get those fancy chair backs. You just can't have bare back chairs. So when you're going through the room, getting the prices for wedding, for, the tablecloth, X amount of dollars. And then they go, and so for the chair backs, what were you thinking? And then most guys like Tommy or Johnny are like, what do you mean chair backs? It's like, well, we put backs on chairs, these nice things, and they're tied in the back with a bow, right? And it just, the presentation is lovely. You do want a lovely presentation, don't you? And Johnny and Tommy are like, I guess, but I don't yeah. So what we're going to do is that it's an added, $1,600 for the bass bow. But if you want a really more lovelier presentation, we suggest the 2200 gold package with the bow's bigger in the back. Anyway, you know what I'm getting at? All these stupid things that that doesn't like. So at the end of the day, the amount of money most people make just goes into their pocket. Does it pay for the gold package bow on the back of the chair? Maybe. Scotty Mo, it's all a la carte. I learned that when I got married. Yeah, that's what it is. It's such a racket. Carl Elder, you little son of a so-so. Carl Elder, listening to the chat about the Winnipeg social. How about that? He says, you know what? I'm going to gift 5 pianomattyb memberships on a Wednesday. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Carl Elder. Always supporting the channel. Much appreciated. I forgot to say, on Saturday, I didn't get to a bunch of super chats. And I apologize. You know who you are if I didn't. But we try. We try. It's hard. And I always remember it, so I know who I owe. I know Wick one. I owe Wick one. I owe Wick Lola, and I owe French Toast or something. But French Toaster generally goes out on the risk curve. He in my memory of his requests, they're always like things that nobody really knows. I mean, if I were to play it, people would know it, probably. But I mean, no one really plays that at a piano bar. But I was looking at it. It was what was the song? It was Linkin Park, right? I don't know a Linkin Park song. And plus, Linkin Park's one of those weird, abnormal, quirky singers. Like he can do the vocal fry and he can sing. And he has a register that's higher than most men, higher than mine anyway. So it makes it triple word score. Although Carl Elder, got to keep this channel going. Honest YouTubes are hard to come by. That's true. It's hard being honest on YouTube because people always be bullish. People want trading signals and they want to know which coin's going to 10x. And sometimes this channel is just a hard dose of reality because I care not for bulls nor bears. I'm in this for the long haul. So this is all just noise and it's not a big deal. Speaking of honest YouTubers, I saw the mugshot of Ben. And so that, to me, there's a good news and bad news in that. I think him being apprehended saves him from himself in a weird way. And I've dealt with this type of thing because it's pretty apparent in the musical environment. Carl Elder, come for the TA, stay for the conspiracy theory should be the channel motto. You know what? I'm going to change it to that next time I go into my YouTube thing if I can figure out the banner, the head banner, like it's the weirdest shape. YouTube's horrible for fitting those. That's why most people's don't really look. You get the pro YouTubers look normal. Mine doesn't. I looked at it and oh, that's all stretched. That's fine. So I had a drummer who went through this. He was absolutely normal for a long time. And then it was almost like he was on his own 4-year cycle himself, and he would come out of it and he would have a bull run emotionally, financially, professionally, everything. Cause he was a really talented guy and he would, his life would get back to normal and above the last cycle. So it was like higher highs, higher lows. Now that I'm thinking about it, his life was like the Bitcoin cycle. But then when the bear market came, he would spin so out of control that he would just decimate his life worse than it was, to the point where each cycle, the bear market rounded closer to jail. And then eventually he got taken to jail. And in a weird way, it saved him because, he was kind of forced to dry out, I suppose. But when he was unraveling, A lot of similar things happen. He was very, create wild stories. And if you're a normal person, like think about that. I get caught up in it too. Like when I see a Ben video on X or something, like I don't watch his channel on YouTube, but his shorts come on X. If you didn't know any better, you would think that, wow, oh my God, he murdered whoever, right? Or whatever the thing was. But when you've dealt with these people that kind of go into the schizophrenic, paranoid type of delusion. So the person I was talking about, he would start hating a person in the band, and he would phone me and say, "You're not going to believe this, but so and so told me that if this doesn't happen, then he's going to do this, and he's been planning." And of course I'm just like everyone else. So it's like, what? He did? No, I can't believe it. Right? It's all, and you get swept up in it till you realize, oh, you're getting played by this weirdness. So yeah, I'm kind of happy that he got caught, because think about it. We're all here because of Ben, in a weird way. Like I would not be doing YouTube videos. I feel like I'm not anymore, just because the market doesn't move. But I would not be doing videos if it wasn't for Ben Armstrong. And, we wouldn't be sharing this cup of coffee at 8:33 in the morning if it wasn't for Ben Armstrong. And Lasers, I found your channel before, Ben. Wow. Lasers, you might be the earliest adopter in this channel. Storm Chaser Video says there are already AI news stories about him on YouTube in the last few hours. No Bond either. Hope he gets help. He was who introduced me to pianomattyb. I found you on Ben's show. Yeah. So, and to a certain degree, a lot of people are huge big YouTubers because of him. Call it what you will. I mean, say what you want about him. But in his bull run, right? Remember the cycle where these people have bull runs and then they have bear markets. In his bull run of bull runs, he made everyone he knew, not me, but I don't want to say anyone's name, but he made all of them massive YouTubers, so they had early adopter syndrome. So they were here, battling it out when no one cared. But then when Ben's channel took off, he kind of took everyone with him that he was coming up with. And now they're huge YouTubers. For better or for worse, I don't know. I don't really look at any of those people's content. Not that that's bad or anything. I just don't. Maybe you do. I'm not sure. Maybe it is great. I'm not sure. I wouldn't know. I watch James at Invest Answers because he's a quirky little weird ex-TradFi guy. If you haven't watched Invest Answers, this is probably the best stream you'll ever see. Mine right now, because I'm telling you about Invest Answers. So you should go check him out. He's kind of like Ben Cowan, but not as, what's the word? He's just quirkier than Ben Cowan. Ben Cowan's very, dry and matter of fact, and I like that for information as well. But James at Invest Answers, I don't know. You'll see. You'll see if you look at him, and if you go find his channel, put in the comment, pianomattyb sent you. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm kind of glad he got caught, because he was spinning into e-money. Quirkier than the dude that dresses like a ninja to trade. I've never seen that. I've never seen. Is he called Crypto Ninja? Beware of anyone who's dressing in a ninja to trade. Again, I can't say it enough. Professional traders will not be giving you signals. They won't. They don't do that. So yeah, good news is he's been he's been saved from himself. And hey, nobody loves a redemption curve more than I. And so I'm looking for the day when he gets healthy and he comes back. There's a lot of great things about Ben Armstrong that I think can be. I mean, we all look at Robert. He's like the Robert Downey Jr. of crypto YouTube. You know, he had such a crazy spiral down, you know, spent some time in jail, then came back, and he's the biggest actor in the whole world. Now he's got a lot of money behind him, but we're not going to get into that. Chadwick says, I put ladies through the ringer of embarrassment before, but Ben's family got it bad. Oh, man. You said that perfectly. I feel bad. I feel so bad because when I think, what's her name? Bethany and the kids, they were just innocent little bird brains. Like, what's Bitcoin? What's this? And then all of a sudden the channel made them wealthier than their wildest dreams, you know? And then he had his bear market. And he took the family down. I think the saddest part is the kids, right? Like what I just hope that the kids are okay. I mean, it'd be tough to see that. And so that's how I knew that this was way beyond what we all thought. You know, the fact that his kids are in the suffering aspect of this. And so the correlation between that is that my experience with the guy in my life, the musician, he had kids and he completely, like, they weren't part of the solution. They were actually in his mind part of the problem. So to divorce yourself from the parental aspect of saving your kids or shielding them from your addiction or your mental illness, once that's up, I mean, all bets are off. So hopefully we see the greatest redemption curve ever. I mean, I like to think that despite all the bad things that he might have done or said, you know, in his delirium, you know, Bitcoiners, we do want the best for everybody. That's why we're here, you know, preaching the good word about Bitcoin. We want everyone to adopt this. And I think we want the best for everyone, no matter how bad they fall. And, you know, everybody deserves a second chance. Make sure you like